Hello, CST friends and family, drivers, monitors, staff, everybody. I come to you from the exotic location of my office. Yes, got back from vacation. Thank you to all of you who checked in with me to see how my little trip to Chalice. It was wonderful. It was very relaxing. It was great to get a chance to be out. So back in the office this week, and so I want to do a little safety check-in, and actually, it's my goal to do this every week. Now through the school year, just kind of a take our temperature kind of thing, see how we're doing, and just check in with everybody. So I always enjoy talking to all of you. So as you know, last week we did talk about some accidents that happened, two accidents that happened. Well, it wasn't the end of the accidents for last week. We ended the week with 3 accidents and 1 incident. And so I wanna discuss, the accidents and the incident, and specifically, those are gonna be our focus for this week. So 2 of the accidents involved cul-de-sacs, and then our incident involved a bus rolling forward, nearly striking another bus. So when it comes to cul-de-sacs, now it's my understanding is as I've been listening to a lot of drivers who've run their routes, looking at different route sheets, a lot of our routes this year include cul-de-sacs. And in the past, the way that these were navigated routinely was to what I call sweep the perimeter, drive around the outside perimeter of the cul-de-sac, whether you went over towards the right and drove around that way so that the driver is on the inside of the turn, or if you went over to the left and drove around that way so that the driver was on the outside of the turn. We need to change our mindset when it comes to cul-de-sacs. Cul-de-sacs, for the most part, now not every single one, but the majority of them, the best way to navigate these cul-de-sacs is three-point turnarounds. We talked about this last year, and we're going to really hit it hard this year. We've already had two involving cul-de-sacs, one hitting a tree branch that was overhanging, broke the back window on the bus. And if you know about the glass on the bus, you have to hit one of those windows pretty darn hard to break the glass. And this was a good sized tree branch. Yeah. And the second one involved a tail swing from a car that was parked. Car was really parked where it shouldn't have been, but we can't do anything about that. We have to adjust ourselves to the conditions, whether it's the weather, where a car is parked, all those kinds of things. So the first thing whenever you have a cul-de-sac, now actually you're going to start by looking at your route sheets and determining, do I have to go into this cul-de-sac? Do I have to do this turnaround? Sometimes it's just going to be the way it is. I've been looking at some of the stops where there is turnarounds. I've had one where there absolutely has to be a three-point turnaround. There's just no getting around it, especially with sped routes. You may have to go in and go into the cul-de-sac. Maybe the student lives in the cul-de-sac, or that is the only way you go in, to their street, load them, and then you have to go to the cul-de-sac, turn around, and come out. But I had one that I did eliminate. There was a through street, so it was Artesian and Hatchery. And I guess in the past, the buses would come in on Hatchery, go down to by the trailer court, do a three-point turnaround. Well, that's not a safe thing. I having that eliminated. So now the driver can either come in on Artesian, follow it around, come out on Hatchery, or come out on Hatchery, follow it out, and come around on Artesian. So sometimes we might be able to eliminate a cul-de-sac. You should not be using cul-de-sacs to stage in. It's best to stay out of them if at all possible. But if you find that you can't avoid it, that you have to go into a cul-de-sac, what can you do? Well, the first thing you're going to do as you approach that cul-de-sac is take a pause, take a stop, scan the entire area, talk about that all the time, and see what is there. What obstacles are there? Are there cars parked in the cul-de-sac? Where are they parked? How big are they? Is there tree branches hanging down? Is it garbage day and now the sidewalk is lined with garbage cans? Where's the mailboxes? And because of how many tail swing accidents we have involving mailboxes, garbage cans, and tree limbs, that's why we want to look at doing this three-point turnaround as opposed to driving the perimeter, sweeping the perimeter of the cul-de-sac. Because a lot of times when we sweep that perimeter, in order to be able to make it around without having to back, you gotta get up close to the sidewalk. What happens when you get up close to the sidewalk? Tail swing accidents, okay? So that's not an ideal. Plus, if you've got a car parked along, the sidewalk in those cul-de-sacs, that now moves you over, and now you have a greater risk of a tail swing accident. So the best thing I want you to do is to look. Is there a car parked over here? Is there one back there? Um, how can I best navigate this cul-de-sac? Now, if it's a wide open cul-de-sac, you don't have anything in the middle like a little tree, vegetation, Gilligan's Island, like I like to call them. You're going to do that 3-point turnaround. And with the 3-point turnaround, you're going to enter the cul-de-sac. You're going to come into it straight, and then you're going to turn hard to the left. Um, and get up as close to the sidewalk as you can with the front of the bus. Okay. Then once you are up there, then you're going to reverse and you're going to use all your backing skills, potentially having a student sitting in the back seat, spotting for you. Tell the other kids to be quiet, hazards on, beep the horn twice. Then you're going to back up just enough to where you can get yourself going straight and come around and come out through that cul-de-sac. So once you back up enough that you can get the bus turned all the way around to make it out of that cul-de-sac, um, that's your 3-point turnaround. So we're going to talk about this in our in-service as well, and I'll have a video that effectively demonstrates this. I also had this in the safety Bible that we handed out last year. If you don't remember that, I suggest you go back through some of the stuff you maybe pulled out of your box um, and look through those again. I had a lot of pictures in there on how to do a 3-point turnaround. Now, obviously, if you've got a Gilligan's Island in the middle of that cul-de-sac or it's a roundabout, you're just going to have to navigate it the best way possible. Now, always going over to the very far right side is not always the best thing to do, especially in a roundabout. And I'm specifically thinking of the roundabout over by Galileo, where sometimes you have to come through and you have to go almost like 3/4 of the way around, whatever it is, and it's essentially like a cul-de-sac, and it's a little bit tight. Okay, be aware of what's going on all sides of your bus. We talk about that all the time. Is there cars parked over on the right? Is there cars on the left? Is there two-way traffic? Um, whatever it is. Um, so let's start with looking at eliminating cul-de-sacs if at all possible. Okay. And you can come in to me. You can go to the trainers and say, hey, can you look at this and tell me, is there a better way? Maybe you can change up the directions or something like that. Now, if we're able to do that, we're going to have to submit those changes to the routers so that they can get that adjusted and get that adjusted so it reflects on the tablets and in the parent app as well. Okay. I am always happy to look at stops. I can pull it up on Google Maps, and if I have to, I'll go out there and look at it because I want to make sure that you're able to do it. Now, um, if you have a turnaround that's unavoidable and you're unsure how to do it, let's get you with a trainer. I can absolutely set that up. They can go out with you because it's a good training tool for to use for their trainees as well to see a bunch of different areas. Say, hey, look, this is the situation that we're facing here, like the end of Mace Road, Short and Amazon. Um, there's quite a few of them in the district. How are we going to navigate this? What are the reference points? So that's our 3-point turnaround talk. And the next one is pop when you stop. Okay. Towards the end of last year, we had, I think, at least 4 or 5, just off the top of my head, accidents of buses rolling forward or rolling backward and striking the bus in front of them or behind them. Okay. Make it your habit. Okay, start thinking about this now, that your butt does not come out of that driver's seat until you have popped that park brake and you have put that bus in neutral. Okay. Um, you cannot sit there, especially at your schools, doing your paperwork with just your foot on the service brake. Your foot can get tired. Do you ever get like a spasm or something and then your foot could come off of the brake, roll forward? We had that happen. Um, or the driver just plain old got up out of the seat to do the child check and didn't double check that emergency brake first, and they're halfway down the back of the bus, and the bus is rolling forward and strikes the bus in front of them. Okay, so you never get out of that driver's seat before pulling that service brake or pulling that park brake and making sure it's set and getting that bus in neutral. So pop when you stop. Okay, your butt doesn't come out of that seat, and check and double check. You know, it's you know, if we can avoid an accident, and it takes so little time. It takes so little time to avoid an accident. So that is my two little lectures for today for this week. Um, like I said, it's been good to be back in the office working on our in-service items, getting those ready to go. I know we had a spectacular in-service last year. Um, don't expect me to top it this year. We're not burning anything, blowing anything up, shooting anything. Those things take a lot of work. Um, but I do appreciate the attendance, the attention, and we're getting down to these last fleeting days of summer for us. It'll be good. So I do want to put a little plug in here for safety committee. I would like to have a safety committee member from each of our route segments. So I want one from the R routes, the M routes, the S routes, the C routes, E routes, V routes, and the W routes. And so I will talk more about this at in service as well. I do have some safety committee members in place already. But I would love to have more. And essentially, what the safety committee is it's kind of a consultant role to the management team and also kind of a liaison between the drivers and management to say, hey, these are safety issues that have been identified. And sometimes as a driver, they may feel less threatened or a little bit more open to go to a safety committee member as opposed to coming into a manager's office. Now, anybody is always welcome to come into my office and talk about a safety issue. I appreciate that. I appreciate so many of you that have your eyes open and are looking out and talking with your fellow employees. It's wonderful, and thank you so much for doing that. But sometimes you're not sure if this really is a safety concern, or you've got this idea and you're not sure how to formulate or whatever. You can talk to a safety committee member. Last year, our safety committee was very instrumental in working with the district to get some of the bus loops changed. Some of them we can't change, but some of them we put on the district radar. Um, and like one of the big one is Meridian Middle School. That is now changed the way the loading and unloading is going to be done, and that's something we talked about a lot in the safety committee. We also talked about areas around town. And I got a hold of ACHD. We were able to get some road painted and those kinds of things. So, safety committee is a very important function. We meet once a month. It's about an hour-long meeting. I always put that out. You do get paid, for that meeting time. Like I said, I'll have some more information on the slides for in service. But um, if you ever thought about working in a safety capacity, this is a good way to jump in. I do have little projects that I'll hand out to our safety committee members from time to time. Nothing daunting, nothing overwhelming, nothing horrible. And I want to have monitors on as well. Right now, I have two monitors on the safety committee. I'd like to see uh, at least one, maybe a couple more. I would love to have a van driver on the safety committee as well, because this is the way to really get those issues talked about. So thank you so much, everybody. And if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to shoot me an email, shoot me a text. I am here all this week, and I will see you all next week. Have a good day.